Welcome to Positive Waves. My name is Matthew Collinson.
I'm Joseph Somma. So
Today's
Matthew,
Joe. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
no, I was going to ask you a question, man. Something that popped up for me this weekend was, how do you show up for yourself? Do you show up for yourself? And if so, like how? What do you do to show up for yourself?
I like that, man. Why did that question come to you?
Came to me during a little meditation I was doing, and it kind of started doing a little bit of self-reflecting on myself, because lately that seems like the topic that has been going on is need to make more time for myself and need to get out of my own way. So kind of like just having that little battle within, knowing that I've got a lot of stuff I need to get done. Some of it I'm preventing myself from finishing, those fears, those worries, and all of that. And knowing and recognizing that what I'm doing is for my best good, just got to get the brain to believe it, got to get those negative thoughts to stop, and allow myself to step into everything that I'm doing with, an open mind and an open heart.
When you find yourself taking the right actions, what are you doing to make that happen?
Well, I've slacked off on my self-care. I've slacked off on doing my stretches. I've slacked off on doing my self-yoga. I've really slacked off on doing my breath work. And these are a few things that I really started doing on a regular basis when I started my spiritual journey. And I've really seen the results of how well it works for you when you can keep a good routine going, and then how badly you can crash yourself if you don't keep up on the most important investment you have, yourself. So as I was doing my little meditation and self-Reiki the other day, it popped in my mind, and like I said, it started allowing me to reflect. What am I slacking on for myself? And that's when so much started coming in, and I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I wonder if Matthew's had any realizations lately on his self. I know we're busy people, we've got a lot of projects going, and it's great that we're doing so much to help others, but making sure we're there for ourselves first is like number one.
It's funny you brought that up, because I have actually been feeling that hard the past couple of weeks myself, because I've been getting out of some of my core habits as well. And that's kind of what I think it all comes down to, is what we do for ourselves during our daily habits. I think everything always revolves back to what it is we're doing every single day. Again, not perfect at it myself. I'm still slacking on things, and I still try, I get out of habits, I get into habits just like everybody else. It's a lot easier to kind of teach than to do, as it were.
I like how you said everybody else, because we all feel so damn alone sometimes in this world, like, oh, this is just happening to me and only me. And here it is right here. You and I are both going through the same thing, where we're neglecting ourselves in areas. And thankfully, we've learned those tools to help us see where we're slacking off before we crash and hit that rock bottom again. We can, throw ourselves that parachute or that safety rope or whatever, and pull ourselves back up, or have a safe landing to wherever, by getting back into the swing of our new routines as we recognize where we've been slacking.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I noticed, like, it's like if you've been working out for a long period of time, for instance, when you stop working out for a bit, you start to really feel it almost instantly. It's like as much pain as you have when you're not working out, just in a different order.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh man, I really feel like it, man. I haven't been running for like a week, and I'm like feeling like crap and run down and not energized, because I think that to create energy, you need to put energy into it, or out of it, as it were. So like running for me is my core like exercise that I like to at least be able to do on a basic level, just to keep myself going and stuff, and keep that heart going. Because of my heart surgery, I'm very conscious of me needing a lot of cardio to keep the muscle strong.
Right. Yeah. And definitely we want to keep you around for as long as we can. So I'm so glad that this topic popped up, so I can help give you that little kick in your own ass to help you remember to keep taking care of yourself, so we can have you around as long as possible.
It's true, man. And that's for all of us. And we can create an additional decade or two at the end of our life if we actually work on these habits. And I think this is where having people around you is also important, or the community you keep. Like you bringing that up reminded me, which will help me to get back on the track. And it had been going through my head anyway for a couple of weeks. So it's really funny when that all happens. And then you all realize you're going through the same crap. And it's like, oh no. And
Right.
then we're like, what can we do to stop this? Or how can we counter that? And that's the trick of it, is like, you then come up with a bunch of ideas on how you can counter it and how you can get back into it so that you're not as long away from it.
Right, exactly. And want to touch base as well. You brought up, adding that extra 10 or 20 years, thinking what we do now affects our later life. How great would it be to not be one of those elders that are bedridden? I don't want to spend the last 10 years of my life stuck in a hospital bed or in a wheelchair. I want to do all that I can to, as everyone knows, I'm disabled, I got issues, but I don't want to spend my time in a wheelchair or on crutches or whatnot. I want to be able to move as freely as possible. And in doing so, I've got to keep my yoga stretches going, like keeping myself walking, moving, getting back into Kempo, whatever it may be. Just keeping active, keeping the muscles working, keeping the legs stretched out for me personally. It's going to help me move better, which is going to help me feel better, which is going to help me do more. And adding on that more time to my end of years, I'm going to be more active in them. I could be like my great grandma, who's 96 years old, still walking around without a cane, and she'd kick my ass if I said something wrong. So I want to be one of those little feisty little elders where we got some spunk in our step and some sass in our tone of voice or whatever. And the fact of the matter that I want to be up, out, moving, and still communicating with the community and whatnot. I don't want to be stuck in the bed. I don't want to be stuck in the house. I don't want to be not enjoying my last years.
I agree. I want to be like, I've seen a lot more stories recently, and I think it's happening more and more often where you see like 100+ year old like doing a run or doing some kind of activity that's just like crazy, or dancing or stuff like that. And I love seeing that. It's like this is where we can look around our world and look around our environments and realize that there's stuff that we are unconsciously incompetent at. And what that means is you just don't know that you don't know, or you don't know what you don't know. And when we look around the world, there's these things called blue zones. In the blue zones, that's where people are living the longest. So what are their habits then? What are they doing every day that's different than what we're doing every day? And a lot of times that has to do with like getting back into nature, eating better foods, just being with the earth. Essentially, it's amazing to me, and watching how calm like that those pieces are. Just like, that's who I want to be. Like, I want to be a philosopher. I want to be the guy who just dives into like alchemy and other things and plays, and I just have fun with life. Like, that's what I love to do. I love to smell flowers. It's very simple, but we make it so hard.
Yep. As I was going to say, we have such simple tricks to live better, longer lasting lives, and we think too much. We totally overanalyze, totally overthink, and just take something so simple and make it so difficult, and then it's not benefiting us at all. Like you like to smell the flowers, and I do love a lot of those flower pics you take. But just sitting there and enjoying the nature around you. That's one of the greatest things you can do. You're taking that time to yourself. You're allowing your body to rest. You're not stressing about nothing. You're literally sitting there smelling the roses. I mean, how great is that?
Right. I mean, I can't think of anything better. It gives me a good reminder to do that too, though. But I surrounded myself in an environment where I made it possible.
Well, yeah, we all have to build that ideal living space. I mean, we can't be happy living with 5 roommates that make us totally miserable. We need to have those like-minded people. I mean, we don't have to always get along with everything, but it's having that mutual respect of, hey, you like that, I don't really care for it, but I still love and respect you because, we have those differences. You can teach me stuff I don't know. I can teach you stuff you don't know. And it's, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's that kindness and compassion for others. We can be different and still be friends. We can still have love for each other and still have differences in opinions. And that, I mean, that alone is showing up for yourself. You surround yourself by all the same people, you don't really get much difference of opinion, much criticism, and it's great to be boosted all the time, but how can you grow if you don't have those outside sources giving you those little criticisms here and there? Oh yeah, maybe I do need to do something about this, or maybe I do need to dig deeper into that, and allow yourself to grow with those criticisms.
Yeah, it reminds me of a couple of things. Reflection, number one, like everything's a reflection in some way,
Mhm.
shape, or form. So we assume. I mean, it's kind of like energy play. But when you look around you and everything that's coming at you, whether it's a criticism or just somebody said something in your hearing range and it reminded you of something, like, why did that happen? How crazy is that? Like, the fact that the universe is so detailed and can do all those little like synchronicities at one time for everybody around that one breath or
Right,
one word, and it seems like it affects all these people then in a range.
exactly.
So
One,
there's that. And then number two, that's sticking point where it's like a hard time where you're living with like five roommates and you don't like it, but you're not able to create the environment around you yet. That's where I think it's important for people to get into gratitude, because that gratitude shifts that energy into giving you more of what you do want. And so when you say, I don't like something, you're not going to like it for sure. Number one, I was explaining this to my youngest the other day, the IMs. I'm like, you can say I am messy, then you'll be messy, but you can say I am clean and become cleaner. She's like, but then it's lying. And I'm like, well, you're shifting an energy. You're taking something from one thing that you probably don't want in your life to something you do want in your life. So you have to learn how to get used to it, and you have to become confident in saying it, and then it starts to shift it.
and even in that transition process, you can say things like, I am improving with my mess, my mess. I am getting better at, handling this situation. It truly is in the wording, and using the right words will help that growth, or will keep you neutral, or will, help you dive into the negative direction.
Mhm. It's important, man. And then also the gratitude piece opens up. Like, this is what I had a hard time shifting with. It was when I was living with my in-laws. We lived with them for like 5 years while we were saving up for this house that we got. So not an easy feat. It's kind of a marathon living with your in-laws. Understandably, not a bad thing, just a piece of the puzzle. So I had to find a way to shift myself. I was really mad all the time because I wasn't productive enough to, support my family and stuff. So I was mad at myself, number one.
Right.
Number two, I was like, I would lash out once in a while, of course, because I have the way I am. And so I had to learn how to shift that into gratitude and be like, thank you. And I love you. And thank you. And I love you. And I had to do it over and over and over again. And finally something shifted. You just felt the shift. And, we have a great relationship now, me and my in-laws. So it's like not a bad thing. So it all worked out. It's just a matter of learning to shift into that gratitude, even when it's hard to feel it, hard to find it. You just have to start saying thank you for the space that I do have. Thank you for creating a place where I can grow, or a shelter that I have over my head, because there are people around the world without shelter too.
Exactly. Yep. And yeah,
So thank you.
it's like in previous calls, just that simple choice. You made the choice of, I don't like this angry meat. I want to improve. And you improved within, so your outside improved as you did. And that growth right there is yes, difficult, but it's amazing once you get into that mindset and see how easy it is. Granted, at first it's not, it's definitely a struggle, because I too had similar anger issues with myself, because as men, we're taught we have to this, we have to that, and there's no other choice. And that's just the generation we grew up in. But as we've grown up, we've learned that we have a lot more choices than we were ever presented in our entire being. So having that choice to change that mindset to create that better world within, so your outside world improved with it is great. Good work there, my brother.
Thank you, man. No, yeah, I think we're all constantly shifting in some way, shape, or form. Well, that's kind of not even a secret to life. It just is an isness of life. We don't have a choice. We're shifting regardless of whether we want to or not. We're flying through space, number one. We're not stopping. We're not standing still. You might think you are, but you're not.
It's your choices that choose which way you go. You can keep rising or you can fall back down.
Yeah.
And, falling back down, it does happen. It happens to the best of us. But as we learn these tools to grow, that growth happens easier and easier every time. So for those listening, don't get discouraged if you fall down. Just stand back up, dust yourself off, and keep climbing for those stars.
Well, this all comes back to how you show up for yourself, which was the beginning question of this. And that's everyday discipline, essentially. It's self-discipline, which is a terrible word for some people. They don't like the word discipline. And it's just, the word is the word. It's the isness of the word. It doesn't matter. You attach the emotion to it. So if you want to attach negative emotion to it, you can. But if you want to attach a gratitude or a loving emotion to it, you can as well. It's choice.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. It's great how that just full circle there.
It all comes back to that, though. I mean, really, how you show up for yourself. Like you showed up today. We didn't even really plan like the day after a holiday here in the US. So we were like, all right, let's just see what happens. And we showed up. But that's showing up for ourselves because we both are creative beings and we want to create something that'll send out a positive wave. That's the point of this. And that's what we are endeavoring to do every day when we go to do these things. That's a piece of showing up for yourself. Where else do you want to show up for yourself that you haven't currently, Joe?
Oh, really? I think after this most recent recognition of not showing up for myself, I think I'm going to first focus on getting back into that routine that's helped me achieve all that I've done thus far. And then from there, whatever growth comes, I'll openly accept it and proceed forward. But it's like I fell a few rungs down on that ladder and I need to climb back up to where I was so I can continue climbing up higher. So yeah, I spent so long showing up for myself over the years of my spiritual growth and development and getting out of that negative mindset I consistently lived in to where I am now. And I'm definitely grateful for the life I have and to be able to recognize before I fall into that depression or I get those bursts of anger or those, damn birds outside are tweeting, shut up. When you get that angry, it's not a good place to live. I love honestly hearing the birds in the morning when I wake up. It's one of the greatest sounds. And, to think that at one point in life, I could have been easily frustrated or angered by that is kind of depressing. But knowing that I've learned the tools to go within, find out why that got depressing. Why am I getting angry? Why am I not showing up and doing the things that I need to do? And then getting back onto track. It's a great tool to hold.
Yeah, it's because of all of our shifting, we have to go into those darker places sometimes. It happens.
Right.
That inherently is where you really want to be keeping a decent community that can help you grow through it, though. I feel, again, it comes back to that surrounding yourself with people that are wanting to grow and become better also. My initials, I had so many different kinds of friends growing up because I moved around so much. So it is like, I never really had a core group of people until like my last year of high school. And even then it wasn't even like, we were together a couple of years and then we went our separate ways. And that is a part of growing, is going in and out of these relationships as we grow. Now, when you learn and become aware that, hey, you have a choice on who you want to surround yourself with, who you want to hang out with, who you want to be around, who you want to grow with, who you want to adventure around the world with. Like my wife, man, I can't wait to take her on adventures around the world. Like she's my number one person, you know, it's the person that I always think about. And it's like, as soon as I wake up, it's like, all right, she's safe, she's here, she's next to me, I'm happy, you know, and that's very simple for me. And I'm so grateful every day for that. But I think that helps develop our relationship on another level, because I'm always grateful. I'm always in the state of gratitude for that. And she is as well. It makes it very difficult for us to be like, we get mad and irritated at each other, but we're not like, we know we're never in any like danger of like going our separate ways kind of thing. Like it's a safe place to be for us.
Yeah, disagreements do happen, but having the ability to communicate as well as listen, you can resolve problems real quick. And I'm sure you both have the knowledge that when something does happen, you realize it comes from the emotion you're feeling. So when you do go have that conversation, leave that emotion to the side so you can openly chat about it without literally getting butthurt about whatever that topic is. And I know me and my partner, I've had to tell her like, hey, this is frustrating me. I need to go, calm myself down because I'm getting all up in my emotions here. And, first few times it didn't happen like I had hoped, because obviously we're getting to learn each other, getting to know each other. And I don't know if she fully understood what I meant by that, but after a few conversations, when I say, hey, I need to go relax, I need to calm myself, this is frustrating me, she understands. And yeah, go do what you need to do, and we'll revisit this later. And it's great because we resolve issues so much quicker having that communication and listening ability when situations do arise.
We wouldn't have learned it without all the problems we had before.
Right.
I couldn't hold together a relationship worth a damn before this, man. Like, I tried a few times, never worked out. But it comes from growing together and learning to grow together. It comes from being grateful for each other and realizing if you love somebody, like I always love I learned this thing about relationships. It's a percentage thing. It's like, how much should you give in a relationship and how much should you receive in a relationship, right? And a lot of people say like 50-50, whatever, 51-49 or whatever they want to say. It's actually 100% to 0%. Like you give 100% regardless. It doesn't matter anything else. Like to expect anything from anybody in the world is kind of, that's very egoic.
When you leave the expectations behind, when the other does something for you, it's that much more amazing, that much more heartfelt. Like we were out the other day and I'm getting ready to go dig for cash to go pay for whatever we're paying for. And she swoops in behind me, swipes the card. I'm like, what? She's like, oh, I just wanted to help. I'm like, thank you. Just not expecting, but when you receive, it's amazing.
It is, man. And I'm so thankful every day I get to receive a smile, a kiss, and I'm so simple. Like I'm a very simple man. Like I love hugs. My wife will give me a hug.
Some of the greatest things in life are those simple little things. A hug from, your child, your partner, sitting in nature, breath work, meditate. Like, how simple is it to just take 10 minutes to do what you have to do for yourself, to show up for yourself and give yourself that time to sit and breathe through a situation or meditate on a problem or question. We make things more difficult than they need to be.
We do all the time. Like I said, what is simple to do is simple not to do. Jim Rohn, he used to say that a lot. Like it's simple to go out and smell my flowers. Do I do it all the time? No, I get sucked into tunnels just as much as everyone else.
Right.
But it's that part. It's like if you can find a few moments throughout your day and say, just look and be, and just say, this is nice. This is cool. I love being.
Right.
Then you've just made magic happen.
Just leave it right there. I love being.
I love being. And you can create these moments of wonder every day. But most people don't. All you have to do is stand there and look around you and feel. It's that simple. Like you use all your senses. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you feel? Like, just, I mean, you might not want to taste things. Probably not always a good idea.
So I just pulled a card from the Rebel deck, and you're gonna love this, dude. Check this out. Believe what you see. On the other side, it says, face reality or live in fucking la la land. Choose bravely.
Right.
Great. That's fitting for the day too. I mean, yeah. Love it.
Oh my God, man. Such perfect pulls every time. I'm just like, yes, you know how to pull it just right, Joe.
When a deck calls out to you, trust that intuition and grab it, because it will be magical. I've got quite a few decks now, because I'll just go in the store and be like, ooh, yeah, okay, that one wants to tell me something. And every deck I own except for one of them I bought because I thought it was cool, and I don't ever use it because it doesn't, my heart doesn't call out to it. The deck doesn't call to my heart and say, hey, pick me, we got some shit to share with the world, and quite a few of my decks do, and it's amazing every time I do a card pull.
It's part of showing up for yourself, I think.
Yeah, following your intuition, doing what your body tells you need to do. I mean, that's the biggest form of showing up for yourself, is listening to yourself. What does the body need? What does the mind need? What does the heart need? And most of the time it's a simple hug, or to sit in nature and just take that time to be.
I think so many people miss out that time to be. Like, there's so many people now. There are certain people that want to be busy all the time and are just, that is the way they are, and that's okay. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, for instance. That guy always is. He always talks about how much he enjoys doing what he's doing. So he's loving what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most important piece. Like, really,
it's not work if you love what you do.
Right. I believe that fully with all my heart. That's why I love creating. I love talking on like Zoom with a ton of people, or just you even. Like, that's why we record this, because we have this is like a creation that can just go on and on. And for me, that's what's important. It's like that infinite potential of, hey, I'm sharing some cool knowledge here. If you want to enjoy it, cool. If not, cool too. Whatever floats your boat. But if it excites you and it gets you going, like, I suggest you follow through with actions. And part of that showing up for yourself is listening to that intuition and realizing, yes, this would be good for me. Maybe I should try something like this.
Right. That one key word could do something to spark in someone's mind. Oh, I may not want to do it Matt and Joe's way, but I'm going to take it, twist it, and do it this way because that's what my heart calls to do. And then boom, you've started improving your life by a simple key word that turned into a thought, that turned into a heartfelt desire to do something better for yourself. And jump up and do it. Don't wait. Do it. When you feel it, do it. When you're called to do it, do it.
Well, and every single person's a different puzzle. So every single piece is different for everybody. So you have to find a way to make the piece fit for your life.
Yep.
So meditation, for instance, maybe you don't get a lot of time by yourself. Maybe you do only get a moment by yourself. I would try to find some time to get alone, but if not, then that's okay too, because you can just do a breath meditation and just listen to your breathing, follow that breath.
So for that meditation, everybody's got 10 minutes before they go to bed. Take that couple minutes to meditate. Set out the intentions of what you desire in life. Do you need a raise? Do you need a better position at your job? Do you need a better job? Like, take that time to go within, find out what you truly need for yourself. And then while you're laying in there in bed, ask for it. Like, that's one of the best times to manifest your visions of your future, is that moment before you go to bed.
It's part of showing up for yourself, is that visioning that you're talking about too.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, if you don't know what you want, then you're going to have a problem getting there. So what do you want? I'm asking you, audience, feel free to comment. What do you want? And really get into detail on the vision. I just went through a future pacing exercise with one of my clients, and I really, really enjoy future pacing, because you're really diving into that time period down the road that you want to be in, and what you want around you at that point in time. Like for me, when I think of things in my future, I think of the creations I want to do. I think of the services I want to provide around the world. I think of the energy I'm trying to create. I think of the love I'm trying to put out to the world, because the love is an infinite part of who we are. And by using that energy, you can't tap it out. You can always have love to give or spread. Like it's always there if you recognize it. And it's infinite. Like it's like the universe around us. Like you can keep going into space, keep going, see how far you can make it. I don't know. That's how it feels to me.
And the more you tune in for yourself and follow that heart's desire, the more energy and the more love you have to give. Your cup never runs dry when you're living from that heart space, doing things with love, as your intention. We don't do things for our own greedy nature. We don't get that gratitude effect. We don't get that manifestation. We just get that karma. So when you do things from the heart space, and, for yourself or for others, you get more of that good karma, more of that love for self, and that cup stays full all the time, and you're constantly able to give that energy as you walk through your day.
Exactly. Cat crawling around in bags or
Nice.
a paper thing, so it's really loud.
That was great. The other morning we were on that call and the cat just sprung up and jumped up on the blinds behind you. The cat had some jump.
Man, that kitten. Yeah, she got her in November for my daughter for her birthday, and that was a good one. But she's a sweet cat. She's just really rambunctious right now, destroying everything, as we all know kittens love to do.
No, that's part of life. It's those young years where we got to explore and destroy as we figure out what's what and navigate this world.
I was good at that when I was younger.
I
I could take things apart, no problem. Putting them back together, not so much.
I remember building Lego castles with my son, and like halfway through building it, he would just stand up and with his foot just crush them. Boom! So he got Xander the Destroyer as a nickname.
That's awesome. I love that. So I think another piece of showing up for ourselves is thinking about the people that it affects around us, because that's kind of important. Like whatever you do is going to affect people.
Yep.
Not much of a choice.
You're angry all the time. That's what your family's going to see. That's what your kids are going to see. That's the vibrations they're going to pick up. I mean, if you're angry all the time, your kids are going to see that and they're going to think that's okay. Okay, dad's angry all the time. It's cool for me to be angry all the time. Look, I'm mad. Put a hole through a wall. That doesn't benefit anyone. Dad's going to be madder now. He's got to, fix the wall or pay someone to come fix the wall because he's too busy at work to do it. So yeah, being in that vibration of anger is not good for anyone. So all those around you are going to see it, feel it, and it's going to lower their vibration as well, unless they've got those tools to realize, okay, they're having a moment, I'm going to go over here and be happy.
Yeah, I like the exercise of when you're in a heightened emotion, feel it around in your body. Like feel what's affecting you. Like when I get mad, I can feel myself getting heated. I can feel my heart rate go up. I can feel like my pulse start to quicken there. I start to maybe sweat a little bit depending on what it is. I feel that perspiration. So it's like you feel certain parts in your body when you go through certain emotions. When I'm embarrassed, you get it, down there in the pit, you're like, oh, I'm not feeling very good. This isn't cool. I don't want to do this. But that could also be a sign that you need to go through one of your comfort zones essentially and get uncomfortable for a few minutes to be able to become more comfortable in all of life.
Right. Well, I mean, growth does come from that unknown, that uncomfortable space. So yeah, it's good to step into it, but damn, is it ever so freaking scary some days.
Yeah. And again, this is where support of other people comes into play. Like, I know I can drop a dime and just call you, Joe, and be like, hey, I'm having a problem today. Can we talk? But not everybody has that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I love NG. I mean, we know people all around the world where we can literally, I can be awake in the middle of the night and hit up Australia, be like, hey, Callie, I'm having an issue. Do you got 10 minutes we can talk? And literally that has happened. And that 10-minute conversation turned into an hour and a half video call. And it was the most beneficial thing for me. Like, she really helped me walk through. It was actually an issue with boundaries. Somebody was not respecting my boundaries, and I was getting very upset about it. And I was struggling on how to walk through. And this is still during, the depth of my spiritual growth. So I really had no clue how to handle it. I just knew I was mad and I wanted that anger to go away, but I didn't want to do it in old methods. I wanted to learn new ways. And Callie, the sweetheart she is, she sat with me. She helped me walk through some things. She helped me build better boundaries. And yeah, it was an hour and a half call, but I was like a new person after that call. And like you said earlier about how does this affect those around us, as I keep making better choices to heal instead of stay angry, I'm watching my son grow into a better, person himself, learning tools that, we all talk anger. It happens. We all get pissed. We all have that inner dialogue. But to be able to see him start it, stop it, flip it, and then change it to something different, it's amazing. I wish somebody taught me these tools when I was his age. So I'm so grateful I can give them to him. So, thank you, Matthew, for the work we've done together. And G people, you're watching this. Thank you all so much for the love, support, and guidance, because it's really helped me change my world inside and around me. And it's one of the greatest feelings ever.
See, this is where I think things are so epic right now with the internet. We have this opportunity to connect with people all over the place in a growth mindset kind of way, in a golden rule, platinum rule kind of way, in a universal law kind of way. It's hard to believe for me that so many people are missing some of these very basic things that they could use to grow through problems. We all have them. They come up constantly throughout your entire life. But like a Boy Scout, the more prepared you are, the less chances are things are going to go absolute ape shit.
Right, like, the more you're prepared, the less out of control these problems can become, the less spiraling down into that pit of despair you'll go. When you have the tools, you're able to climb up, climb out, repair, rebuild, whatever, at such a quick pace that, like, I used to have seasonal depression. I would get depressed, end of September, early October, all the way to March. Over the last couple of years, since working with the NG community and really working on myself, my growth, and my traumas and dramas and all that, my seasonal depression has basically wiped out. Last year, this past winter, I maybe had a couple days stent. The year before that, I maybe had like a week and a half stent, and I'm talking consecutive days. Whereas before it was literally like 6-7 months long. And to know that I'm no longer in that place is amazing. So, the tools do work. Don't be afraid to learn things. May seem goofy, may seem wrong, may seem off, but really it is as simple as Matthew and I are saying. So give yourself that opportunity, show up for yourself and learn something new, so you stop repeating the same old cycle.
Yeah, and I want to celebrate everybody who's watching this, your strengths. You have strengths if you've made it this far. And if you're watching this, then you're probably on some kind of shifting level, and you're aware of it, which is super cool. Number one. Number two, I hope to see you all use that strength that you've learned to grow and get where you truly want to be. Follow those dreams. It's what I love to do, and it's what I preach to everybody that I meet, is follow those dreams, go towards that vision, because as you go towards that vision, you're going to grow into this being that you had no idea you could be, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Love you for that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man, show up for yourself every day.
And for all the viewers, that's how simple it is to show a little bit of gratitude. Just thank you from the heart, and it's improving your karma right there.
I agree. And with that, we will leave you today. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. This is Positive Waves. I am Matthew Collinson.
I'm Joseph Somma.
Please feel free to like and subscribe and share this with anyone that you think could use this today.